Welcome to the second episode of a series of short presentations highlighting 4 ways that you can maximize employee experience using both Citrix Workspace and Microsoft 365 solutions. Last time we focused on aggregating and simplifying applications. Today we're going to talk about improving engagement and productivity with the intelligent features of the Citrix Workspace. I love this quote. Now, in the simplest terms, a positive employee experience requires removing friction from work. And today we'll share with you some of the ways Citrix and Microsoft can offer a better together solution that removes friction, making your workers more engaged and more productive. So let's start with some statistics. 4 out of 5 IT leaders believe employee experience is critical to their digital transformation. Only 1/3 of employees are very satisfied with the mix of tooling to get their work done. Having to use too many apps is the biggest overall work pain point. And thirdly, some internal Citrix research. 80% of employees believe that technology make workers within their organization more productive. Now, for 80% of all business applications, employees use just 4 or 5 key functions. And this is totally true to me. I mean, think about it. This is so true. This is, where Citrix Workspace Microapp technology can really help. And that's what we're going to focus on for these next few slides is explaining and helping you understand what Microapp technology is, how it works, and how it can really improve the way workers interact with their enterprise applications, specifically some of those Microsoft applications. So Citrix Workspace now supports over 150 Microapp integrations, and this is our secret sauce, if you will, for providing streamlined application workflows and a better employee experience. Now, what is a Microapp? It's actually pretty simple. And we've tried to illustrate that here. Rather than going to a full-blown version of an enterprise application, like we see here on the left-hand side, the Citrix Workspace Microapp Services goes there for you, interacts with the app, and presents to the user sort of a single function microapp actions and tasks. In this example, rather than requiring a user to navigate away from what they're doing to approve an expense report, in this example, it's SAP Concur, the Citrix Workspace can provide the user with a microapp card or blade. This is the microapp card that you see here. And this allows the user to approve that expense report with a single click without ever having to leave the Citrix Workspace, without ever having to authenticate into another app or another system of record. And this is a great example about what we mean when we talk about the future of work. And here we've expanded that microapp card. If you click on it in our UI, it'll expand it to what we call the microapp blade. So in this example with the expense report, maybe the approver wanted a little bit more information. They just clicked on it, they see some additional information, and now they can still approve that expense report directly from the Citrix Workspace. Now, what we're showing here is a comprehensive list of all the actions or tasks for Microsoft Dynamics 365 that can be executed directly from the Citrix Workspace using our microapp technology. So all of these things you see here, you can do with Microsoft Dynamics without actually having to go to that application itself. Quite a bit of stuff here. Another list here of our microapp integrations with Microsoft Power BI. So again, you can get notification of a new sales report. So maybe rather than sending a sales report to someone's email and hoping that they open it, we can send them this microapp notification directly to their Citrix Workspace feed, and they can access information directly from their workspace without ever having to leave their workspace. They can search Microsoft Power BI reports. They can search dashboards. All of this stuff they can do directly from the Citrix Workspace. Now, we get a lot of questions about Microsoft Teams. Are we trying to replace them? Do we compete with them? And the answer is no. Microsoft Teams does what they do. They do a great job at it. That's really not the space that we want to be in. But, we can actually make Microsoft Teams better because we built in some integration between our Citrix Workspace Intelligence, those Microapps, and Microsoft Teams. And so what we're able to do here in this example, we've got a micro app, that expense report that we saw in the previous slide. In this example, we can forward that micro app to a Teams user or a Teams channel. It's really easy. The administrator can also configure the micro apps to be sent to both places simultaneously. So rather than having, in this example, where you're forwarding a micro app action from your workspace intelligent feed to the Microsoft Teams, you can actually have this sent to both of those places at the same time. So a worker can receive these micro apps directly in their Teams feed as well. Now, going one step further, what are we doing more of now that we're working remotely? Virtual meetings instead of in-person meetings, right? And so Citrix Workspace already supports a number of integrations with online meeting systems, and we're adding even more this quarter. Now, you can see all those meeting systems here on the right-hand side. Now, the capabilities may be slightly between some of these integrations, but in general, you can manage meetings, schedule meetings, launch meetings, receive meeting notifications and reminders, create virtual office hours. That's the whole bunch of stuff you can do working with these systems of record and applications directly from your Citrix Workspace. So again, it's one less system you need to go to get work done. And it all happens right there from your Citrix Workspace. Sticking with this micro app feed, we want to make sure you have a really good understanding of all of the integrations and things that our platform can be used for that can really boost employee experience. And, with more remote workers, our customers are looking to replace some of those services that used to be available in-house and on-site, and they're looking to replace those with new digital workflows to take their place. And we've recently announced some new line of business micro app integrations that are ready to go right out of the box. And the first set we're showing here is self-service IT workflow examples. So we can connect to systems of record like the ServiceNow, Zendesk, and Jira. And we've even created some of our own micro apps. You see the one here on the right-hand side, ITFAQ, that leverages Citrix on the back end instead of the system of record. Similarly, we also have new HR self-service workflows, including integrations with Workday, SAP SuccessFactors, and Upwork as the systems of record on the back end. And now these are all examples of ways that we can stay connected and provide our remote workers with all those tools and services that they need to be successful and productive, and replace some of those services that used to be available to them on site. And the last one here on our micro app innovations, one of the last proof points here, and this is a big one. I think we all have concerns about returning to the office, and without a doubt, new processes and protocols are going to be required to keep workers safe and healthy. We know that. And what you're seeing here are some new out-of-the-box micro app workflow integrations with numerous systems of record vendors. And these critical new workflows include things like facilities feedback, crisis communication, employee NPS surveys, maybe self-service health checks and check-ins, and more. And so, establishing a set of best practices is going to be really important for returning to the office. And this is a great example how Citrix and Citrix Workspace can help, leveraging our Microapp technology, connecting to all these systems of record vendors on the back end, and presenting users with a single UI where they can get all this stuff done. Okay, so here's a view of our intelligent workspace. Um, on the left-hand side here of this UI, you can see we still have access to all of our apps and all of our files and all of our desktops. We talked about that on the last webinar series, and now what we've added to this is our intelligent capabilities that we've talked about today. Starting on top with the ability to search your entire workspace, this personalized scrolling feed of actions and business insights. These are the micro apps. Again, these are things that can be forwarded to teams as well, but allows workers to get work done from one place, whether they're approving expense reports, requesting time off, getting a new sales report, opening IT tickets, getting an update on the status of your IT ticket. It's all right here. Number three, quick access to your most commonly used actions in Microapps. So, of course, we send stuff to your feed, but what if you want to take an action? What if you want to request time off? This is where you would go to some of the most common actions. If you see there where it says view all actions, it'll actually launch a whole page of all the Microapp integrations with all the vendors and systems of records that we have. And that'll be customized to how your IT department sets it up. Number four here, quick access to all your most recent files, applications, and desktops. And then finally, the ability to expand those Microapp cards in your feed. We call these the blades. They contain a bit more information than what you can get in your feed. So for this slide, so that's a little bit about our intelligent experience. And one of the things that I like to explain to customers and make sure that they understand is that these experiences and this improved employee experience is really within arm's reach. And what we're showing here with each one of these experiences as well is where we can integrate with Microsoft and what those commonalities are with Microsoft with each one of these experiences. If your Citrix environment is currently delivering the storefront experience here on the left, there are numerous things you can do. You can improve your employee experience by simply adding one of our new products, Performance Analytics, to see how those virtualized apps and desktops are performing for your remote workers, and fixing any problems proactively that you may spot. And this gives you great visibility into insight and the performance of that end user, which is really important as we see more remote workers. And now the middle and the right-hand side, these are the UIs you would see if you've got at least one of our cloud-based services. So this is the Citrix Workspace experience in the middle and on the right. And the Citrix Workspace experience combines the traditional virtualization use cases, but also the ability to launch all application types, as well as sort of this unified access to all of your files. So it's more of an aggregated experience that allows workers to access everything they need through the single window. It's not just about the virtual apps and desktops, which is traditionally on that left-hand side. And then going one step further, on the right here is the stuff that we talked about today. Adding the Citrix Microapp service, you can deliver the workspace experience with all the intelligence stuff. So this is the experience that represents the future of work. And not only does it give you the single sign-on access to all of your applications and files, it also helps you organize, guide, and automate the work experience using this Microapp technology and integrations, using the intelligent feed, all the stuff we talked about today, including that integration with Microsoft Teams. So as we wrap things up, let's take a high-level view of the Citrix Workspace. I really love this slide. And the first is the power of taking a platform approach to workspace delivery. And the key advantages here are cost savings, IT simplification, IT agility. And with all those workspace platform resources, um, and services in that bottom middle blue box, it makes it so much easier to turn on new workspace services as you build out your workspace. So once you've got that platform in place in the middle on the bottom, when you want to turn on those services right above it, it makes it so much easier to turn on those services because those common things like the management and the provisioning and the identity and the analytics and all this stuff, that stuff is already in place. So as you're growing over time, it really makes it easy to create this sort of single vendor approach to workspace using this type of a solution. And it's also important thing to note here is on the right hand side. Many workspace vendors require a separate vendor to provide the plumbing, but Citrix has industry leading networking solutions that are already integrated with our workspace solutions. And the question we ask customers as they're sort of trying to plan out what they want to do is, where do you want to be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, and 3 years from now? And having a best of breed solution from a single vendor or a couple vendors, a reduced number of vendors, sounds pretty nice, right? And that's why the aggregation piece we talked about is important, and being able to leverage those existing investments that you have today, pushing them through that workspace app front end. And over time, as those subscriptions come due, you'll have the opportunity to adopt new Citrix Workspace services and really unify your solution even more. And as it relates to Microsoft, on the left-hand side, Citrix Workspace can offer that secure single sign-on access to Microsoft productivity applications right alongside all the other applications like SaaS and mobile, virtualized apps and desktops. And the workspace intelligence features we talked about today can really boost that employee experience over on that left-hand side. Now, on the right-hand side, we already mentioned the plumbing, but one important thing to note here is that our SD-WAN supports and adheres to the Microsoft connectivity principles. This is really important. So what this means is that we're able to offer an optimized and prioritized traffic and performance, which, to get your users, regardless of their location, to those nearest Microsoft 365 on-ramps. So thanks again for your time. If you'd like to request a demo, we encourage you to go to citrix.com. You can see a screenshot of that here. And please join us next time as we discuss the Citrix Workspace security and the value that brings to the joint Citrix and Microsoft solution. Thanks again for your time.